Listen to me. If there was a wise man who would ever think of this, they would say in order to be superior to the man, you've got to be the man. For I am the man himself.
How you all doing on this Wednesday evening? This is the Club of the Man 1993, and I'm here pre-recorded. Again, I didn't go live for this one. To give my very, very brief thoughts on Monday Night Raw from this past Monday night, the April 17th, 2023 edition, and it took place in Little Rock, Arkansas. I didn't do this one live because, quite frankly, I don't know. This episode of Raw, I didn't hate it. I didn't come out of it feeling angry like I did the Raw after Mania. I feel like there was a little bit of Vince put into this Raw, if I'm being honest. Some rematches, some promos, just a couple things I noticed that, again, just felt like Vince had his paws a little bit on this show. It wasn't awful. It was just a very not much happened filler episode. Slight bit of a letdown, but I can't say I hated it. But just some stuff didn't completely make sense to me. It was very average, it felt like. It wasn't a big light on fire thing. So much so that I don't really think it's worth going live. Especially right now, again, when I just have a lot going on. Especially this past weekend, when I did an excellent episode of Dynamite pre-recorded, when I should have done that one live. And SmackDown, which I ended up not doing live. I was going to do it live at first, but then I didn't because I just fell behind. So I'm going to start off easy this week and do Raw pre-recorded again, because it wasn't really a must-see episode. It was very average, very filler. Not much really happened. But we'll roll in, talk about it, then I'm going to skedaddle. We opened up with the Bloodline coming out. The Usos and Solo Sikoa, and the wise man himself. The Nagini of Roman Reigns, I always say. Paul Heyman. Usos greet us, which, by the way, also, Little Rock was not that great of a crowd. There was a lot of piped-in boos on this show, especially when Trish's segment happened. Which, okay, she's trying to generate heel heat, and her promo was good. Well, I didn't think that it was really that noteworthy of being that badly booed, but, you know, it just... Again, another reason why I felt there was a lot of Vince. There was some Vince on this show. But anyways, the Usos greet us. Heyman does his usual thing before the Judgment Day come out. Like, okay. And basically, the promo was the Judgment Day and the Bloodline were going to work together on this show and help each other out of their problems. So basically, the Bloodline is going to take care of Latino World Order. The Judgment Day was going to be taking out the Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, and Matt Riddle problems. The most noteworthy thing, of course, about this was that there was this big stare down between Solo Sikoa and Rhea Ripley. And Paul Heyman was like, "Are you guys okay?" And Rhea's like, "We're fine." But they kept like staring each other down. I'm feeling if they ever do finally let Rhea Ripley wrestle men, which she should be, I think we should do a match with her and Solo. Again, the couple times they've come face to face, it gives me chills. But basically, that was the setting of the show. Is the Bloodline and the Judgment Day were going to basically take care of each other's problems. Where, okay, the Bloodline, stuff's fine, but I still got a question. Why is the Judgment Day still a thing? Because Finn Balor lost. So why, and again, isn't the whole reason why Edge wanted to beat Finn Balor was to end the Judgment Day, end what he started? Now since Edge won, he's not been there. Finn's been on every episode of Raw. So now it makes the match even more pointless than I feared it would be at WrestleMania. But that sets up for that. First, we have Solo Sikoa taking on Rey Mysterio in a solid match. And Solo Sikoa does win with the Samoan Spike. Afterwards, the Bloodline turned the tide on the Latino World Order, and Solo wipes them all out with Samoan Spikes. And then, of course, then they put down Rey Mysterio with a 1D as well. So, Bloodline did their work. Now can Judgment Day hold their end of the deal? Nah. We then have footage of Chad Gable and Maxine Dupree arguing over Otis. And then, of course, they're also starting to hype up the draft, which was officially announced on SmackDown. It's going to take place next Friday, April 28th, and the Monday after, May 1st. But I guess it's not going to go into effect until after Backlash. I mean, at least it's just 1 week. It's not like the last draft they did in 2021, where they did it like 5 weeks before the pay-per-view was going to take place after, which that was dumb for sure. But anyways, so basically they're basically saying who is Otis going to go with in the draft, and then of course they try to take the Adam Pearce and I'm sorry, Pierce says he'll take it all into consideration, but he's got a lot going on right now. Then we had Bianca Belair taking on Dakota Kai and beating Dakota Kai with a KOD. Bianca will be defending her title soon, at some point probably, against Io Sky, as she is the new number one contender. After, of course, Bayley, who was supposed to be in that triple threat match last week, had the story where basically Bayley announced that, but then Dakota and Io are like, wait, what about us? It's always been about you. So again, teasing some cracks into Damage Control, which honestly has so far been the most interesting thing they have done, is the cracks in Damage Control. Because Damage Control to me is just damaged goods. We had a hype for Bronson Reed where he starts calling himself Mr. Nice Guy. Okay? We would see, of course, later in the show. Judgment Day are backstage talking about how Bad Bunny will be on Raw next week. Dom tells Damian he doesn't need to be Bad Bunny's friend and talks about the great joy he felt seeing Solo tear Rey apart. Heyman rolls up and asks if they're satisfied, and Finn tells them, eh. And Paul's like, eh? Do you do eh to Owen, Zayn, and Matt Riddle so they don't fall into debt with their tribal chief? Priest is like, we got this. And Rhea tells Heyman, goodbye, or as Triple H once said to Mick Foley, have a nice day. Oh, gosh. And then he hides back in and he calls Roman Reigns on his phone. So then we have this segment. Cody Rhodes was supposed to confront Brock Lesnar. Cody came out, asked Little Rock what do they want to talk about, and he says he knows exactly what he wants to talk about and who he wants to talk to. So he calls out Brock Lesnar and grabs a steel chair. But then Pierce comes out and says, I appreciate the spirit, but I can't let you do this tonight. Nobody's discounting, and apparently Cody wasn't medically cleared for this tonight. Then why was it advertised? And then originally Cody was going to leave and say accepts it, but he comes back and says he won't leave until he won't leave under his own Pierce says that Cody, well, he goes back into the ring with the chair and says he's not leaving. And then, of course, he now gets security to come out. But then, of course, Cody fights him off. And then out came Brock Lesnar, and then Adam Pearce is freaking out, saying, fine, I'll give you your match at Backlash, but you gotta stop this. And Cody went nuts. Brock was on the stage wearing some, Undertaker ripoff outfit. And Cody just, basically tried to make Cody look like a badass and beat down the security. This felt like something like a Vince thing would do. He would hype this up as we're gonna get the answers. We're gonna get the answers here. We didn't get answers. Brock was a typical heel, just saying come on, fight me. Nah, don't worry about it. And then the babyface takes it out on random security. I don't know if it was just me, but everybody else still a little let down by that segment. We got no answers as to why Brock turned on Cody, and just some random brawl, but yet Cody was not medically cleared. It didn't come across that way. So, I don't know. I don't know why this something felt off with this. But the match is official. Most likely the main event of Backlash. Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar. And we have some backstage where we show Brock walking. I'm thinking, we'll get some answers here. Nope, he just kept walking. Keep walking, but you won't knock down our wall. Keep walking, but he isn't gonna fall. Yes, I just quoted VeggieTales there. Don't judge. Anyways, we had a random match with Seth Rollins and The Miz. Despite it being a random filler match, it was still pretty good. Seth Rollins and The Miz somehow always seem to have really good chemistry. Again, if you remember, they had a match at the terrible pay-per-view called Backlash 2018. They had a pretty good opener for the Intercontinental title. It was definitely the best match on the card. The only good match on the card. The rest of them sucked. That show sucked. Remember the main event, Roman Reigns and Samoa Joe? The crowd was walking out on the match, and Vince's excuse was, people had to get to school. People had to get to school. Yeah, excuse me. Oh yeah, that was also the episode where the match, not the show where it was a no DQ match between AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura, but it went to a double count because both men kicked each other in the balls. And again, I'm pretty sure Vince had a big laugh about that. Hashtag fire Vince, by the way. Get it trending on Twitter still. But Seth Rollins does win. What's next for him? I don't know. Some people suggest, since King of the Ring is now called Night of Champions, people are suggesting that he should take on Roman on that show. Being that it'll be Roman's 1,000th day as champion, and Seth Rollins is the only person he's not been able to beat one-on-one on pay-per-view. The last match they had was at Rumble 2022, and it ended taking a no contest or disqualification because Roman snapped on Seth because Seth just really got in his head. They could do it. We'll see. But he wins there. We have Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and Matt Riddle talking strategies backstage. And then it seems like Kevin Owens was not really, for some things in this. But Matt Riddle, of course, made some joke about how Solo Sikoa wraps his thumb for the Samoan Spike. Should he wrap his toe and kick people in the throat and knock them out, call it the toe bro? And then they're like, what? But Sam was for it. But then Matt Riddle's like, no, I wasn't serious. I'm not an idiot. And he says how he's going to go out there and he's going to get his revenge on Solo tonight because, they were in a six-man, because Solo costed him 4 to 5 months of his career. And again, there's been rumors that they're going to have Matt Riddle go to more of a serious character. And I continue to say this for the life of me. They started this back in the fall with his feud with Seth Rollins. Why did I just don't get, still don't get why they backed off from that serious character. You thought they would have kept it, you know? So, if they're going back to it, awesome. Because like I said, I'm kind of over the silly, goofy, yeet, bro crap. I want to see, the same Riddle who got all fired up when Seth Rollins insulted him about his family. I want to see that Riddle again. So, but I do like, again, weird stuff that they're teasing dissension between Sammy and Kevin. I hope that's not what they're teasing. I hope I'm just overthinking that. But again, if they're going to go back to the serious Matt Riddle, like, awesome. I love to see it. I liked how, Riddle, I think he was going to joke, but then pulled the plug on it. I was like, no, I'm not joking. I'm serious. I did like that. So we had that. We had Austin Theory versus Bobby Lashley in a non-title match. I just did other stuff during this match, because although I'm sure the match was good, I've seen this match how many times the past year? Like, how many times have these guys fought each other? I don't know, but the match ended in a no contest because Bronson Reed body slammed the both of them, but basically went after Bobby Lashley after they had a no contest finish last week in like a nice Haas fight that was basically like a Keith Lee and Dominic Dijakovic type Haas fight, setting it up for something more. So I'm pretty sure we're going to be getting Bobby Lashley and Bronson Reed at Backlash, which that'd be good. We'll see how that goes, of course. Alright, then we got probably the best part of the show. Trish Stratus coming out. And she is responding to why she turned on Becky Lynch last week. First off, Trish came out in an old school attire. Her entrance is different. It's all black. Turns on, it's big, letters. Her Tron changed a little bit since she's now a heel. But she came out looking great. And with the cowgirl hat on and whatnot. She comes out, and to make a long story short, she basically says that, for a little history lesson here, she was the one who brought credibility to the women's division. And she made people not think that women's wrestling was a joke. And there's always the talk of, it was Trish and Lita, but she goes, there was no we, it was always me. When Becky, Charlotte, and Ronda main event WrestleMania, we were chanting, this is awesome, but they should have been chanting, thank you, Trish. And of course, Becky Lynch tells people that the four horse ladies broke boundaries, but that statement, like Becky, is a joke compared to her. She sat back for a long while, let all this slide, but after a while, it was like, wait, does she actually believe her own hype? She would pop in here and there, and not once would Becky ever say, thank you for opening the doors for me. She's got to give it to her. She was very convincing, and she even convinced Lita. The fact that they became a tag team just a year after they had some beef with each other. But at WrestleMania, she was at Mania dancing down the aisle as Becky's little sidekick, but Trish is nobody's sidekick. It got embarrassing, so she had to take Lita out of the picture. Yes, she did. She was the one who attacked Lita. And then what really got to her was after the match last week, whenever Becky said, good try, Trish, we'll get him next time, friend. She decided that there would be no next time, and she took out the man just like that. She wasn't allowed to let anybody rewrite history. She's no nostalgic act. She's no sidekick. She is the greatest of all time and the most important figure in the history of WWE, and she's going to make sure none of us forget it. So basically, Trish Stratus still feels like, which I can believe this, can still produce Stratusfaction. Basically, this whole new era stuff bothers her, and she wants to make things right, by erasing this from the history books and have her be back on top again. Which I can believe. I can believe, and I'll say this honestly. Yes, some of this felt a little bit scripted. Some of them didn't quite feel in Trish's character. Especially the part where she says I have a little bit of a hard time believing that she's also turning on Lita this late in her career. So I feel like the turn on Lita there's more to that story. Like I said, I still think the overall thing here is going to be Trish's going to have to eventually admit that she was jealous she didn't get to share that moment with Lita as tag team champion, but instead Becky got that moment. Just saying. But I'll be honest. I don't think it'll happen at Backlash because the Io Sky's fighting her. But at Night of Champions, I would not be opposed to having Trish get the belt. I would not be opposed to Trish being the one to dethrone Bianca and her becoming an 8-time women's champion. Which, is it 8 times now? 7 times been champion, I think it is. I can't remember. But I feel like especially, even though she's not a full-timer, but if she's going to be around for a little bit and she's playing this new character, you got to give it some sort of a build. So, especially if you're waiting this out till SummerSlam, because Becky was not on the show. Apparently, she is dealing with a minor foot injury, so she might be out for a bit. So, in my honest opinion, I think you should briefly put the belt on Trish. Just saying, I think that this is what they should do. I feel they should have Trish be the one to dethrone Bianca. That way it's kind of like Trish does rewrite history and take out this new era, but then Becky wins it back when she fights Trish at SummerSlam. Sounds reasonable to me. And again, I do like that she kind of kept the whole throwback thing. And I guess another thing too, let's prove again, it's not a nostalgia act. She is the real deal, which I thought was good. Cody Rhodes being interviewed backstage, more about his match. He also apologized to Adam Pearce for losing his temper and says he's backed the Beast into a corner. And the only way out is to win. But everything he's been through, Cody will not allow the Beast to win. Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville beat Candice LeRae and Mia Yim just to give them another win before their tag title match this Friday on SmackDown. Look, I know we don't give shit about the women's tag titles, but at this point, I'd rather have Chelsea have them. I mean, I wish it was Chelsea and Carmella, but at least Chelsea has a little bit of an intriguing character. That way, that it can make somewhat of a little bit prestige into those women's tag titles. It's not going to be much, but it's going to be a little bit of a rub for Chelsea for sure. There's more backstage segments about the draft, about how could Elias and Rick Boogs get separated. There's also talk about what if the Street Profits got separated as well. So we're going to talk to Adam Pearce about that. And then Akira Tozawa comes in and mocks them and says how they could get split up. And then Baron Corbin comes in trying to play nice, but Tozawa tells him, nobody wants you because you suck, basically. It wouldn't surprise me if Baron Corbin went undrafted. If they really are going to want to go back to bum-ass Corbin, have Corbin not get drafted. I think that would be a good story there. The Usos cut a promo about the LWO stepping up to them and getting sat right back down. Judgment Day's Damian Priest, Dominic Mysterio, and Finn Balor have a match with Kevin Owens, Matt Riddle, and Sami Zayn. The babyfaces won with a Senton Atomico, the floating bro from Matt Riddle onto Finn Balor. Gets the win. Of course, they're having the 6-man tag with Riddle, Zayn, and Owens versus the Bloodline at Backlash, the Usos, and Solo Sikoa. Hopefully that'll mean Sami and KO will still be your tag team champions. I still have this bad feeling. Next Friday on SmackDown when they fight them, I have this bad feeling they're going to drop them back to the Usos because Sami Zayn can't go to Saudi Arabia for Night of Champions. And afterwards, the LWO and all of them, basically all four stables, the Bloodline, LWO, Judgment Day, and Owens, Zayn, and Riddle all brawl basically to end the show. And that was Raw. I don't know. Again, not much story development. Some weird stuff, like I said. The same with Cody and Brock was... It just felt a little off to me. Some filler matches. Like, again, did you really think the Judgment Day was going to hold up to their deal? Because the whole Judgment Day, again, just feels pointless now. I mean, again, keep Rhea and Dom together. Cool with me. But the rest of it? Not feeling it. But... You know, we have Bobby Lashley and Austin Theory for it the 20th time in the past year. And a couple other stuff. Like I said, I give it a C. It didn't hurt many things. It was just a lame filler show. Just filler. So I thought it was. So I gave Raw this week a C. And again, Little Rock being quiet and piped in noises didn't really help much either. But I gave Raw a C. What are your guys' thoughts on this week's episode of Raw? Leave your thoughts down in the comments section below. Be sure as always to slap a like on the video and subscribe for more content on my channel and follow me on Twitter at the Club of the Man 93. Be sure as always to follow me on TikTok and Instagram at the Club of the Man 1993. Until then, guys, I'm checking out. I'll catch you all later and have a great rest of your evening. Peace out, everybody.